So welcome to UABC's first podcast. So we are going to be calling this the UABC Tea Room. So our club actually decided to make this podcast just because with the COVID-19 situation kind of going on, we felt kind of out of touch with our exec team and our members as well, and we just wanted to kind of keep the communication going on both ends between our team and our community members. So we figured what better way to do that than through a podcast. So our general idea was to kind of discuss different topics. We might as well sometimes invest guests to participate us in our discussion. So if that's something you would like to, you can definitely let us know. So for now, we want to do this podcast potentially once a week or once every 2 weeks, something like that for the summertime, just to kind of establish a routine of communication between us and our members. If anything changes for the fall semester in terms of whether or not our club can go forward with sessions, we might even extend the podcast kind of depending on what our team decides at the moment. So in terms of the podcast, we'll be discussing many different things during different weeks and things like that, and it'll kind of be tailored depending on what we think we should include and stuff like that. So for this week, there's going to be the four of us here kind of discussing ourselves just so future members and current members can know about us and maybe a little bit more about us moving forward. So that will be the topic for this week, and potentially for next week it'll be the other half of our team kind of talking about ourselves. So first off, we're going to kind of do introductions so you kind of know who is participating in this week's podcast. So first off, I'll introduce myself. So my name is Shirley, and I'm going to be the president for the upcoming year of 2020 to 2021 for UABC. And I'm pretty much kind of in charge of just overseeing the team and the club in general and kind of helping out where I can. In terms of the school side, I'm in my last year of dietetics. So next off, we have Julius.
Hello, everyone. My name is Julius. I'm the secretary for the UABC. I'm basically in charge of keeping track of notes and just helping out with the club. And I'm also on my last year for mathematics. That's my major.
Hello, everyone. My name is Simon. I'm the event coordinator this year. So I handle some events throughout the semester as well as the year-end dinner. I'm currently just finishing up my degree in cell biology.
Olivia, it's your turn.
Hi, my name is Viet. I'm doing my master, and I'm your gym safety officer.
Okay. So what do you do as gym safety officer?
I try to keep everyone safe.
All right. Excellent. Yeah, so that's the four of us for this week. So I know for all four of us, we're really passionate and really big on badminton, and we do, that's why we're here as the team kind of running the forefront of things, trying to make sure everything is kind of organized for everyone. So the first thing that would be kind of like cool to know for everyone is like, how did you guys start getting into badminton? Because I know everyone has gone in at different points of their lives and they're at different skill levels, which is really great, especially in contribution to the diversity of the club. So how did you guys start off in badminton? I guess I can go first. So I can, I don't know if you guys are like this too, but I started when I was younger. Any of you guys started when you were very young?
I kind of did too, I guess. Yeah. I tried out on all other sports, and badminton was one of them.
Yeah, I think like that's a really big thing, especially like they do when you're young. They introduce you to a lot of different sports, so you can kind of get your foot into things. So for myself, I feel like I kind of started with my parents, and then it was kind of something I played casually in the backyard, then I kind of transitioned it into something more competitive, just because it's like, I don't know if you guys feel this, but it's kind of like it's such a nice, fun, fast-paced sport, you know? And it's like you can always kind of play it because indoors,
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's true.
right?
Wait,
I'm
how young were you when you first started, like, becoming competitive, moving from casual to, like, you take it more seriously?
I think in when I was really young, I was 8 when I started, and I played a lot, but it was very kind of you know when you're starting out and you just kind of run slow and you rally and you just hit in the air,
Yeah.
and then I transitioned to junior high where people were more competitive and things like that. So I'm sure you guys might have a similar experience where it's especially in junior high when they start having actual teams,
Yeah.
right? Did you guys join in on your junior high teams?
So you
Yeah.
mean in junior high is when you kind of started to really get into it?
Yeah, because that's when I
see.
actually had coaches then, because today you have, especially maybe not so much in Edmonton, but in Calgary they have so many different clubs and
Yeah.
coaches and things, and you can start out, you could be 4 years old and start out with a coach and stuff. I feel it was I think since we're all generally the same age, when we were younger, we didn't really have anything as much like that, not as intense. And I don't know what your guys' experience is, because my experience is only in Calgary. Does anyone have any experience outside of Calgary or even in Calgary?
Mine is different.
So what was yours like?
I started playing badminton 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
That is the time when I know there's a net in badminton and a court.
Wait, so that's...
So before you played in grass fields then, no net, no court?
Before, I didn't play badminton until...
Oh, what did you play?
I played soccer.
Oh.
So what got you into badminton?
So after I graduate, we want to get to get along with older friends. We want to have a sport to gather each other. So that's why we start playing badminton. And then so they introduced badminton to me, and then that time, when I see how people play badminton, then I really enjoy it.
So where was your first interaction with badminton? Was it at club?
It was in the Dome Pavilion.
Yeah. What about you, Julius? When did you kind of start? Because I feel I have a general idea Simon started in junior high too. Is that the sense I'm getting? Ish.
It's pretty much the same. So when I was a kid, I was just tried out in every single sport that I could, because I'm very active and stuff. But I'm just kind of average on most of them. So during high school, I wanted to try to perfect the sport.
Yeah.
And since most of my friends played badminton, and I really liked my coach too, so badminton kind of just clicked. And then I just played throughout high school. And then when I went to UFA, I already knew I was going to join the club from there.
So I guess this question more so pertains to Simon and Julius, because you guys started a bit earlier too. Were you guys on your junior high or high school teams?
So I was really similar, or you go ahead.
Okay, I guess I'll go ahead. Yes, I was. I tried out for all the team for junior high and then for high school. It's a pretty small school in Fort Mac, so badminton over there was kind of it's not as big compared to the other varsity sports like basketball and volleyball, but it still has its own gathering. And I just played all 4 or all 6 years.
Yeah, for me, I'm really similar to Shirley's story. I Asian family, you just play badminton really often, and I always thought I was pretty good at it. And then when I reached grade 7, you played so many different sports growing up, and I was able to make the soccer team, but I wasn't able to make the badminton team.
Really?
And it really shook me. I was just surprised that I wasn't good enough, and so I tried really hard every single year. I never managed to make the badminton team in junior high. And same with high school, grade 10, grade 11, never made it. And then finally grade 12, I made it. So I think I got really into badminton because I almost had something to prove to myself or something. That was kind of my story.
Oh, that's really, I'm glad at the end though you got to kind of experience that, because I think there's something very I don't know if you can speak to this, Julius. You might have a different experience than I have, but like I thought that it was just very a unique experience in junior high and high school. You know, like when you're still young, and I feel when you have a coach in those moments, it builds kind of a lot of it helps sports in general, I guess. Helps you build a lot of like resilience and like character and things like that. So I guess you can have that in different sports as well. But for badminton, I think I just had a greater appreciation for it as a sport that way too, because I think a lot of people, when you start kind of growing up, you don't really think too much of badminton being a sport, and then you see these people working so hard to kind of do so well in it.
Badminton, it just looks like a casual sport when you're growing up, like people play in the backyards.
Right.
And then you start hearing people like go to quote unquote like clubs or something, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So,
I think first time I saw people play badminton is outside in Vietnam street.
Mm-hmm.
Usually the older generation,
Mm-hmm.
they play it casually.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's not a sport for me at the time.
yeah, that's really interesting.
So
Yeah, when I got introduced to badminton, it's actually in the streets back in the Philippines. We didn't have nets or anything like that. So we kind of we had the birdie at the racket, and we kind of just like hit it back and forth to each other.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
So I know
very cool.
some of you guys might have, I think, it like from my outside perspective, it seemed like you started kind of a bit later. Do you think, like, if you could go back and do it over, like, would you have wanted to start sooner to kind of build up that skill? Because I know some people, if they really like a specific sport, but they feel like they kind of started a bit late, they wish they kind of had started sooner just so they had that opportunity to build up their skill. Like, has that ever crossed your guys' mind?
I mean, Via, you started like when you were like 40 years old, right? So you were like past your prime when you started. How do you feel about that?
For sure.
But you started when you were 4? I thought you got into it 2 years ago.
No, 40 years old, I said.
Oh, 40. Okay, yeah.
Like way past your prime. So,
Oh my gosh.
I wish I could start like much earlier.
oh, I see.
Simon, you're exposing his age on public. I don't know if we can
I know.
publish this.
No.
But yeah. Like, how do you feel?
are
Because you
supposed to
started
be
late.
in running, Simon.
Sorry?
He just lose me against me in fast running.
Oh my gosh. So now he's getting you back. That's so funny. But yeah, do you ever wonder, because you started a bit later, because like you started a bit recently ago, do you ever kind of wish you started sooner to be more competitive? Like, do you ever feel that way?
Yes, definitely.
What kind of made you feel that way? When was the first time?
When people start smashing.
That's fair. That is fair. When people smash at you is not the greatest feeling.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
How you feel?
I can definitely kind of see that, and I think like I'm glad that nobody in our club really does that. But like unless they notice that you're competitive, then they might do it to you a couple times. But it's like not a very like frequent thing to kind of do. So I think, right? Like, have you guys ever been smashed at in club?
Well, honestly, like they respect everyone's skill level. They're not rude about it. So I think that's a great thing about the club.
So is that?
But I love.
Sorry, continue.
I love when people play aggressive. So it helps me to improve.
Okay. That can be taken so many ways. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I was like, you take that in so many ways.
I love this.
Oh my gosh. That's good. So Simon, it seems like you really do like the club, and I can kind of pick that up from what you were saying. Like, so is that one of the reasons why you enjoyed being in the club? That the fact that you felt like people were kind of like more nice and like it was a good environment to play in, or like anything else?
I think that's definitely the major one. Like, I don't know about your experience, but when I was like trying to get good at badminton, there was no support. It was like a very competitive, like kind of every person for themselves kind of environment. And I think there's just so many skills to learn in badminton that like if you do it alone, it's really hard to like compete with those like club players that like had that formal training.
Yeah.
And so at the club, it's just not like that. Like, whether you're good or bad, all skill levels, everyone's super supportive, and everyone just kind of can change their style of gameplay so everyone can still have a fun time.
I definitely feel that too. Like there's a lot of mixing of skill levels and a lot of socialization, which I very much enjoy about the club. Yeah. So I think like that's a really good point to kind of make. And I'm like not just saying this because I'm like, oh, we're the execs of the club, but I like definitely feel like it did help build like a sense of like belonging, especially when you're new to kind of campus and you have like a sport that you like, but you don't really know too many people, especially for badminton when you need like 4 people to kind of play. It's definitely really hard. And I think that's personally for me, I think that kind of helped motivate me into becoming an exec member as well. I don't know if there is anything like that for you guys where you're kind of like, hey, I really like this and it made me feel like I want to be part of it. But I think that kind of like feeling that sense of community and wanting to kind of establish that and like perpetuate it into like future terms and things really kind of made me feel like I want to be an exec.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
Agreed.
For anyone else? Like what is like one of the things that kind of motivated you to be an exec?
Like, Via, I know you suffered a major injury. Was that like kind of part of the motivation to become like the safety officer? Like dragging from personal experience or?
Partially.
So how did you injure yourself?
I played soccer and then I tore my ACL. So in surgery.
Yeah.
After the surgery, I have to kind of have physio for a year. So, at that time, I'm bad at badminton, so it is good start.
Okay. Is that the real reason why you're bad at badminton? I'm just kidding.
He's always got the ACL to blame. Holy.
Always all these external problems. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Oh, that's pretty intense. I feel like, is that one of the reasons why you switched over to badminton? I mean, badminton is a lot safer of a sport, I think.
But I love badminton. Like, when I start playing it, like, I don't know, I enjoy badminton. Enjoy talking with people also. And because of that, that's why, like, I become exec, because I love badminton.
What about you, Julius?
You know,
sorry, continue, Simon.
Oh, no, go ahead. Julius hasn't talked about, like, why he wanted to be.
Well, the club's really fun. I really enjoyed it, and I thought that I wanted to help out, to branch it out more, right? Bring, I guess, everyone in the club, like, from just playing, just, like, in the gyms to bring them in to the club to see how fun it is. Try to give the same experience as I had to everybody.
Which is definitely going to be hard for this year, especially bringing in new people, because I think we were discussing this the other day where it's kind of like with the COVID-19 situation where we might have to either cancel our session or reduce our participation, like roster size and things like that. It's going to be kind of like hard to kind of predict where that kind of goes and things like that. So that's the only unfortunate part I see.
Yeah, limiting the capacity of the gym is it could be bad, but at the same time, we could also try out new things, right? Because since we're going to have low number of people, we can try out, maybe explore new ideas.
We can get everyone to wear like those inflatable donuts you wear into the pool, just so they don't get too close to each other.
Social distancing badminton edition.
Like, have you guys seen that in Europe about like when people go out and they, you know, those like spaghetti straw things that you use in the pool, like those long things? So people have been making hats out of them, so it's kind of like, you know, you're far away enough from other people.
I've never heard of
some
this.
people in a balloon go shopping.
Go shopping like that?
Inside a bowl, yes.
In a bowl? What do you mean?
Oh, those inflatable ball things?
Like a hamster ball, like, you know, like when they play soccer. Oh my god, that's so inconvenient. Like, how are the aisles even big enough for things like that?
Wait, I just saw images on Google of those noodle hats. That's hilarious.
It's so funny. Could you imagine people trying to play badminton in those hats? I feel like it would be a problem mostly for Viet, because it's like if you turn around and you whack someone, like, I don't even know, man. Like, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, but everyone's smiling. Looks like they're having a good time wearing those hats.
Yeah, that's because no one has whacked each other yet. So I think it's
like
a pre-violence type of thing.
Whacking. Yeah,
but that would definitely be fun, and that would be something to kind of explore too. So for anyone who's listening to this, like for any of our members, if you have any general ideas of what you want to do for our club to implement social distancing, we are all up for it to kind of explore different realms of ideas. I think for this week, though, that's pretty much all we have time for. So that is all the tea that we are sharing with you for this week. So you can tune in for our next podcast. It'll probably be next week or the week after to kind of get to know the other 4 execs. So that's our vice president, our treasurer, our exec assistant, and our PR. And then we're also going to be making a Google form to kind of generate ideas from people. So feel free to either fill out the Google form with questions or topics you want to hear us discuss, or you can message us on Facebook. You also have the option to kind of email us as well, kind of whichever medium you choose to use. And then we'll kind of continue on and kind of change things as we go. But that is it for now. And thanks for listening on our first podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening.
That's the tea.